Hello my people, welcome to another tutorial. My name is Agnes. In today's tutorial I will show you how to make this A-line skirt. I made it short because I like them short, but to just add more rows if you want it long. I will leave a written pattern on my Etsy shop. The links will be down below in the description box. So let's just get into the tutorial. The yarn we'll be using today is soft bamboo double. This is from Go Handmade. It's very soft and silky and I really like it. It's bamboo, cotton and a little bit of acrylic. It recommends a needle that is 3 to 4 millimeter hook. I'm going to be using a 3 millimeter hook instead, and the weight is 50 grams, 115 meters per ball of yarn. Okay, you can find them on gohandmade.net in case you want to check out the yarn. All right, we are going to start with the waistband, and then we do the double crochet rows, doing some increases until we have our hips measurements. And once we have our hips measurements, we stop making increases and just go down until we have our length, and then do the shell. So at the back it looks like this. So I did increases also at the back until I stopped doing increases. I was doing one stitch each side for the hips, and then there was one stitch I was increasing here. When I stopped doing the increases, it went like this. So this is at my back, but you can also put this on the side. I thought about it later and I thought, it would also look better actually on the side. So if you want to put it on the side, since we are making 3 increases, you would increase here, this stitch that we are already increasing on the seam, and then on this side too, and then the third stitch you just throw it anywhere around the skirt, here, behind, anywhere. All right, so you can do that, or you can just do it like me, but I think the seam would look much better when it is on the side. So maybe it might be something you want to think about. Yeah, also have a drawstring here to adjust your waist, and the waist is based on our waist measurement. So while putting on this skirt, you might want to wear it from top down instead of over your hips, so that you're not stretching this waist. It stretches, but maybe you don't want to stretch it so much, so you can put it on from over your head downwards instead of down upwards over your hips like a trouser or shorts. So this skirt, we're going to start with the waistband first of all, and I started with 17 chains. This gives me about 2.25 inches, in centimeters that's about 5 centimeters. So if you want a wider, then make more stitches, and if you want thinner one, make less stitches. And it is very stretchy, so we are going to determine the length of what we make. We are going to take our waist measurements. Mine is 26, depending whether you want it high waist or low waist. So mine is 26, and then we're going to subtract 5 inches. So that means we will make only up to 21 inches to give it room for the stretch. So 5 inches we take away, and this will be covered within the stretch. All right, foundation chain, you're going to chain the width of your waistband, and mine is about 2.25 inches. So make a slip knot and make chains. I'm going to make 17. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So I have my 17 chains, and we're going to start on a row of half double crochet. So you're going to yarn over, skip the first 2 chains, and into the third chain we are going to be working in these back loops, these third loops at the back. So skip the first 2, and into this third loop at the back we are going to make a half double crochet. So yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through all the 3 loops on your hook. Go into the second chain and make another half double crochet. and you are going to go into every chain stitch with a half double crochet until you get to the end. You should have a total number of 15 half double crochets. So to make this wider, you should add more chains, and if you want it smaller, then add less chains, do less chains. All right, my 15 half double crochets. Of course, you don't count the chain 2 stitch as a half double crochet, doesn't count. So next 3 rows are going to be rows of slip stitch. So row 3, this is row 1, row 2, row 3, and row 4, slip stitch only in the back loop. So you're going to chain a 1, turn your work, and then skip the chain, of course, and into the first loop in the back you are going to make a slip stitch. So yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through. So slip stitch all the way to the end, making sure your slip stitches are loose. If you are unable to make them loose, then use a bigger hook and slip stitch all the way to the end, and I'll meet you before you make your last stitch. Once you have 14, I'll meet you at the end. So I have my 14 stitches, and this is going to be my last stitch. So your last stitch, you're going to work it into the 2 loops and not just the back loop. The 2 loops, go in there and work your 15th. So that's row 2, and for row 3 it's going to be the same. Chain 1, turn your work, skip the chain 1 stitch, it's a turning chain, and then work slip stitches only in the back loop until you get to the end, and in the last stitch work in the 2 loops. Make sure you have the same number of stitches on every row. For me it's 15 on every row. I have 14, and the last one can be hard to see, but it's there, so work in the last 2 loops your 15th. Chain 1, turn your work, and repeat the 3rd row of slip stitches. Getting to the end of row 4, in the last stitch we are working in both loops, and that's our last slip stitch. And then you're going to chain 2, and we are going to repeat this pattern. So once you chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Turn your work, and we are going to do a row of half double crochets. So all the half double crochets are going to be worked on the right side. So yarn over in the back loop of that very first stitch, make a half double crochet and go into every back loop with a half double crochet until you get to the end. And once you get to the end, we will work in the 2 loops. Okay, I'll see you when we have 14 half. I've got my 14, and then the 15th is going to be in these 2 loops, the last stitch, half double crochet, and then we're going to repeat the 3 slip stitch rows. So chain 1, turn your work, and slip stitch in the back of the back loops until the end. So you get the point. It's just going to be a repeat of these stitches. So this is about 21. Mine is about 21 to 5 because I want you. I want to end the waistband with the slip stitches raw. Okay, so now we are going to join this. So you're going to fold it and keeping the right side out, and we are going to join it using a slip stitch. So I'll just go into this chain space, this chain 2 that we started with. In there is where I'm going to anchor. So I will slip stitch like that, and then I'm going to work slip stitches all in it, all the stitches. I'm only working in the loops that are close to each other. So in this first loop here, and then this other one on the other side, and then slip stitch to join. So slip stitch to join the two sides together until you get to the end. Okay, slip stitch all the way to the end. So we have our waistband ready, stretches, and now we're going to work a row of single crochets to just clean up this area before we start on half double crochets. So you are going to go ahead and chain one, and we're going to have 4 double crochets in every 4 rows. Okay, so start a double crochet, I mean a single crochet there, a single crochet in this next stitch. So in the slip stitches I only have 2 single crochets, and then in this half double crochet row I will put 2 single crochets. Why do I keep mixing them up? Okay, 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets. So in this slip stitch rows I put 2 single crochets, and then in the half double crochet row I do 2 single crochets, just like that. So it's 4 single crochets for every 4 rows. Whichever way you put them, you distribute them, doesn't really matter. You can, your placement doesn't matter so much. So 1, 2. All right, so that's our single crochets, and you're going to do all the way until we get back here, all around. So I came all around with the single crochets, and now we're going to close it off. So this is my last stitch of the single crochet, and to close it off we are going to use a slip stitch. So on top of that very first single crochet you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull through to slip stitch. So that was our row 1, a single crochet row, and now we're going to start on the double crochet rows. For this next row is going to be a row of double crochets. You're going to chain 1 and 2, then you're going to yarn over, and in this very same stitch where we did the slip stitch you're going to insert your hook and make a double crochet like that, and then you're going to go into every stitch with a double crochet. We are working in both loops. So work double crochets in every stitch all the way around, and we'll meet back here when you're finishing the row. So I went all around with the double crochets, and this is my last stitch. So in this last stitch we are going to make that double crochet there, and then right under the chain 3 we are going to make another stitch as our very last double crochet. To close it off you're going to go on top of this first double crochet, on top of it right there, and make a slip stitch. So the next rows we are going to make increases. So find the middle part of your work, which is with the seam. I want to put the seam at the back. So the sides here, we are going to put slip stitches, stitch markers, so that we mark where we want to make our increases, which is on the sides. So we start row 2 of the double crochet, which is chain 2, and then make a double crochet in that very same stitch that you made the chain, and then you're going to double crochet in every stitch until you get to where you have your stitch marker, where we need to make an increase so that we cater for the hips. All right, I'll meet you here. So I started here, went all the way till where I have my stitch marker on the side of our hips, and then in that same stitch, remove your stitch marker, and you're going to put 2 double crochets in that very same stitch to make an increase like that. And then you're just going to continue with 1 double crochet in every stitch all the way until you meet your other stitch marker on the other side. So I put the stitch marker where I made the increase here so that I know where it is. So go all around and I'll meet you on this other side. I came to this other stitch marker, I remove it, and then in that same stitch I put 2 double crochets to make an increase in 1 stitch. Then I continue to make 1 stitch until I get to the end of the round. So 1 double crochet until you get to the end of the round, and I'll see you there. I went all around with the double crochets and I have 1 stitch left. So to close it off, in this last stitch I'll insert my double crochet, and then in this little space under the chain 3 I will put another stitch, so it's like an increase. And then to close it off, we're going to go on top of this first double crochet and make a slip stitch like that. And then we are going to start again, chain 2, double crochet in that very first stitch where we have the chain 2, and then double crochet until we get to the side. Double crochets, I'm coming towards the stitch marker, but I don't want my increases concentrated like in one line, one area. So I have like 3 stitches before I get to the stitch marker, and I'm going to make an increase there. So in this stitch right here, I'm going to put 2 double crochets and then just continue. So you can just it's around the hip, so it won't show. You can just not concentrate only in one line, but distribute them around this area. So now I have 2 here. Maybe the next row I'll put about the increase here, and then the next row may be in the same line as the first one, like that. So just a few stitches before or after the first one, or the same place as the first one, depending on how many rows you're working. So you're going to continue, do the same, get to this other side, make the increase, and continue finishing and starting the way we are doing. And I will come let you know how many increases we do in the next clip. So I continue to increase until I got to my hips measurements. which is around 34. And then now from there you stop to, once you get to your hips measurement, this is of course 17, then the circumference is 34, then you stop to increase and just start doing rows with no increase. So when you get to the end, you stop increasing at the sides as well as at the end. So when you get to the end, you just make a double crochet in this last stitch here on top of this last double crochet, and then close it off like that, and then just start like we were starting, chain 2 into this very first one and make single crochets in every stitch with no increase for every row until you get to your length. Okay, so once you get here at the end, only one double crochet in this last stitch and then close it off. All right, I'll see you when you have your length. So this is where I am, and I'm going to end my skirt here. I wanted it short, so if you want it longer, add more rows. I have about 12.25 inches. Now I want to put the border at the bottom. So for the border, we are going to use the shell stitch, and it's just going to be, once you end your row, you are then going to yarn over, and then you're going to skip 1, 2, and into the third stitch you're going to make a double crochet. In that same stitch you're going to make 3 double crochets like that, and then you're going to chain 2, and then in the very same stitch you're going to make another 3 double crochets. So you can use any border line of your liking. So it's 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, then you skip 1, 2 stitches, and into the third you make a single crochet and then repeat. So skip 1, 2, into the third, make 3 double crochets, chain 2, 1, 2, 3 double crochets in that very same stitch, and then to anchor it you skip 2, and into the third you make a single crochet, and that's just going to be the repeat. Skip 2, 3 double crochets in the third stitch, chain 2, and then again 3 double crochets. Skip 2, into the third, single crochet, and you're going to repeat this all around, and I'll meet you when you're coming to the end. We're going to make a drawstring so that we are able to adjust the waist, or you can put in like an elastic band, but yeah, the easier way is to just make a drawstring. So you just make a long chain that goes around your waist, and you still have enough to tie. So make a long chain, and I'll come when we have the chain. So I'm done with my chain. I do have about 40 inches of this, and I'm going to leave a long tail, cut off, fasten off like that, and then I'll take my darning needle like this and then insert it in here. So I want my front to be here, so I'll just go in like this, making sure that these lines that are under. Just see what I'm doing. in and out, in and out. I'm doing this in the last part of the toppest part of the ribbing of the waistband, so that it's easy to hide like that. So just weave it into the waistband like this, all the way, and I'll meet you back here. All right, so I went all around and came back here, so I'm done. And I feel like there are two, so you're in this case you're able to adjust your waist small, so stop it from falling. In this case I'm just going to, I think they are too long, so I'm just going to cut off the excess. And once you cut off the excess, you just pull this like this, also here, and then so I'm able to tie this from the inside and hide it in there if I want to. So there you go, that is our skirt. You can wear this over your head if you have like big hips, but my hips are small, it can pass over my hips. But in case you're having trouble, just wear it over your head downwards and adjust your waistband. And yeah, this is it. This is how I styled it, but of course you can style it very differently. And thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in another video. Don't forget to like, share and follow. Bye.